Good evening and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. Alan Taylor is a new grandfather, so sitting in for him this week is my good friend Rob Payton. We're going to be talking about all the local teams who went 3-0 this week. Rob, welcome.
Glad to be here.
So Rob, you're no stranger to football in this area. Your thoughts just on football in general right now in the Birmingham area and especially in this northeastern part of town?
You know, a lot of these teams have really come on strong in the last couple of seasons. I think that Hewitt-Trussville has really turned things around in a positive way with Coach Floyd and sort of the attack that he's implemented. I mean, these guys are scoring points it seems seemingly each week from an outsider looking in. Clay Chalkville has been a school that has really just been dominant over the last several years. And I know Coach Hood over there has really done a good job with these guys in that program. Pinson Valley with Coach Glover, I mean, he's been there, gosh, for at least a decade, it seems like now, and he's constantly got teams in the mix. So a lot of great football played over on this side of town, and I like seeing, you know, Hewitt-Trussville walk over into where I'm a little more familiar, playing some of these teams on the over the mountains. So we'll see how they can compete with the Spain Parks and the Hoovers and the Thompsons and the Oak Mountains. It's been neat to watch.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Hewitt game versus one of those over-the-mountain teams with Oak Mountain. So we'll be back and we'll talk about that.
At Bryant Bank, we focus on you. You'll never have to worry about being just another number in the system. When you're a member of the Bryant Bank family, our Bryant Bankers will work to understand who you are, where you want to go, and how we can help you to get there. We're big believers in developing relationships with our customers, and we value friendships we make along the way. Bryant Bank provides unbeatable service and legendary results. Bryant Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Go!
Yeah, I thought it was huge. You know, we always try to have a fast start. We took the ball tonight and went down there and scored. Tried to set the tone. You know, we had a stop there, and then we got a penalty, and they ended up holding them to a field goal. The only thing I was disappointed in the first half is we had to kick some field goals, which, you know, thank goodness Parker played great. You know, kicked some big field goals. You know, so he made some key ones. So, but we'd obviously rather get touchdowns there. So, but I'm just proud of it. I mean, you come on the road in this league, it's hard to win, and we had to overcome a lot of stuff, a lot of penalties, and so we're really proud of our kids.
How do you prepare each week to be better and better?
I just work hard every week. I have a great coach that tells me what to do, and he just helps me and to get through these games. And I mean, I went 3 for 3, so it's helped out a lot.
Welcome back. The Hewitt Huskies had another strong performance from their dynamic duo, Zach Thomas and Jerrion Street, and they outlast a scrappy Oak Mountain team 38-31. Rob, your thoughts on this one?
You know, both of these teams, like I said at the beginning of the show, you know, just the steps that they've taken over the last couple of years. Oak Mountain used to be a doormat. I mean, you know, for the last couple of years, they have really come on strong, and I like that offense they run. Difficult to prepare for, a lot of points up and down. Both of these teams went at it, hard-fought game, and just a lot of true competitors on both sides of the ball.
The Husky defense did have some trouble with that Oak Mountain offense. It's unique. It's very hard to stop. What do you call that, a veer offense?
Yeah, just a triple option that they run. That quarterback does such a great job. They dive that fullback in there. He's in the second level, you know, at the snap of the ball, so it makes it really difficult. They just run it well. Coach Bell over at Oak Mountain has really done a good job implementing that. They don't have the athletes to work with in a lot of cases, so having a system in place that they can compete with some of these teams like Hewitt-Trussville keeps them in ball games and nearly got them a victory in this one.
Well, one of the things the folks were concerned about was Oak Mountain they were a little bit desperate. They were 1-2 in the region coming into this game. We knew they would throw the kitchen sink at Hewitt. It was a back-and-forth game, really, especially in that fourth quarter. Oak Mountain actually takes the lead early. Hewitt had to have a late drive to win this game, and it was a tough knockdown, drag-out ball game.
Yeah, it was one of those where you sort of had the feeling the last team that had the ball was going to win this one, and Oak Mountain was able to convert a lot of fourth downs in this football game, which I know Hewitt will look back on and think that maybe, hey, we let them stay around in this game longer than they should have. But ultimately, Hewitt just made more plays, and right there at the end, they put their tailback in the secondary to knock down a pass with a big, tall, rangy receiver that Oak Mountain had. So, hey, you got to put your best athletes in and get them to make plays for you when it matters most.
So next up for the Huskies, they take on a much improved Thompson team, new coaching staff, really new attitude down there at Thompson, and a team that has been giving teams fits in this region.
Yeah, I think that this will be very similar to what they just faced in Oak Mountain for Hewitt. I mean, you're looking at a program in Thompson that, they've had their backs up against the wall and have really struggled mightily over the last several years in that region. And they're playing a lot better. They've found new life. They've got some athletes that are making plays. They've lost a lot of games, but they've been in every game that they've played and have knocked off teams like Mountain Brook. I think they took Hoover, down to the wire. So it's going to be a tough game for Hewitt. They need to come and be prepared for a battle for 4 quarters.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about Clay Chalkville and their dominating victory. It seems like we say that every week, but their dominating victory over his old alma mater, Centerpoint.
Oh.
We'll be back.
Trussville Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trussville Vision Care.
Well, it was another week, another blowout win for Clay Chalkville as they go right down the road to Centerpoint and destroy them 56-0. Rob, a game that was over by halftime, and Clay jumped out to a 28-0 lead, and just total domination again.
Yeah, it sounds like they needed to implement the mercy rule in this one if there ever was one in high school football. A tough one for me because, being a graduate of Irwin High School and, Clay Chalkville was my senior year, their first year of existence. Those kids were all 9th graders, so to see just the strides they've made in their program has really been fantastic to watch from afar.
Well, some stats from this one. Clay had 300 yards of total offense by halftime. They did not have an incomplete pass the entire game. That's got to bug you as an old defensive back. They wind up with 276 yards rushing from, I like this number, 12 different rushers.
Well, what I would say is that can we get the Auburn coaching staff to get down here and start looking at these, maybe this quarterback and get him some letters in the mail and start recruiting kids like this. But no, I mean, what can you say? I mean, they go in, they're total dominance over an outmatched Centerpoint team, and we all expect big things from Clay Chalkville throughout the rest of the season.
Well, we've been talking about this on this show all season long. Clay's one of the best teams in the state. After Hoover's loss to Spain Park the other night, can they stake claim to possibly the best team in the state right now?
I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult question. There's a lot of teams out there that play good football, and any given night, a team like Hoover can rise up and beat anyone. And Clay has proven that they can play with everyone as well. But I'm really not in a position to be able to answer that. But I would say that Clay should certainly be up there in the consideration for that.
Clay's going to host Shades Valley this week, who came very close to knocking off Gardendale in a region game. Shades Valley rebuilding a little bit with a new coaching staff and some of the old Hewitt-Trussville coaching staff actually on that team. Your thoughts on Clay and Shades Valley?
Well, I think that it's probably going to look a lot like Clay and Centerpoint, to be honest with you. I mean, if they're a team that's in a rebuilding mode, this isn't the opponent that you want to play. And so, it's always good to use a team like Clay as a measuring stick, as a barometer to see where you're at as a program. But sometimes that's humbling, and I would expect that to be a humbling night for Shades Valley.
I want to talk for just a moment about a former Clay Chalkville player, Hayden Moore, who's now playing for your old coach, Tommy Tuberville, at Cincinnati. He comes in relief a couple weeks ago against Memphis. All he does is throw for 557 yards, leads his team to victory this past Thursday night against Miami. You got to watch him play. Your thoughts on him and just how that kid gets away from the state of Alabama?
Yeah, this is something that frustrates me because you look at a kid like that, and he's homegrown. He's got 2 schools here that could use him. I mean, obviously, Alabama and Auburn both struggle at quarterback. This conference in general has very poor quarterback play in the SEC this year. And the kid's a winner. I mean, he won state championship at Clay. I just think that college coaches put so much emphasis on this 7-on-7, these camps, these elite camps that they go to, things that don't take place on the football field when guys can actually come at you when the bullets are flying. And, I love it. I mean, I've sat there and told my wife Dana the last 2 weeks I've seen him play, this is just, it's unbelievable that this kid got away, because he could be making Alabama and Auburn both much better football teams this year.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have your weather forecast for Friday night's games, and we're going to talk about Pinson Valley and their unexpectedly close victory over Huffman. We'll be back.
Gunnar Roy would like to invite you to visit one of their 3 stores on Deerfoot Parkway. Both Shell locations on Deerfoot offer delicious Hunt Brothers pizza, one at Highway 11 and the other at Old Springville Road, which was a BP and now has a fabulous new look customers need to see to believe. The Chevron at Happy Hollow Road features mouth-watering pop donuts that are delivered fresh each and every morning. A proud supporter of the community for more than 20 years, offering quality products at a fair price in a clean environment with friendly and efficient service, Gunnar Oil.
Well, right now the weather looks fine for Friday night 7 o'clock kickoff, but there is a chance of some rain moving in that day, so we'll keep you posted as the week goes on. Everybody, good luck with their games.
Man, a victory's a victory. It was ugly. That's what I told him. It's almost like we was at a morgue out here. It was just like no energy. It's just, I don't know, but defense played well. Shut out, proud of them. We had a lot of guys injured still, beat up, banged up, different guys in different spots. So I was really worried about how we was going to respond. But, with me, it's been a screwed up week. I wasn't in practice yesterday because I had the birth of my child. So, I was just really, really worried. But we came out, kids did good, and I'm pleased with it. So.
Pinson Valley improved to 5-2 and 2-2 in the region last Friday night with a little bit closer than expected victory over Huffman. We talked about this last week, Rob, coming into this game. They had a big victory over McAdory, who is a ranked team. They go over to McAdory and win where nobody ever wins over at McAdory. And we expected a bit of an emotional letdown from this team. And it was a team on paper they should have really dominated in Huffman, but they wind up squeaking out an 8-0 victory.
What do you mean nobody wins at McAdory? My teams went to McAdory all the time and won, so I resent that statement. But no, I watched this game, and what really impressed me most about both of these teams, they were physical. I mean, they got after it for 4 quarters, and it was just good old-fashioned roll your sleeves up and see who's a man. A couple of goal line stands that took place in this game that were fantastic. Pinson Valley was having to overcome some injuries and some illnesses and some things that they had go on this week with their coaching staff. As far as I know, Coach Glover had a child that kept him from practice. So, really impressive to put a win behind you and then just find a way to win the next one. Because you're not going to play your best every week. So I thought Pinson did a good job of rising to the challenge when they had to have it.
You mentioned the injuries for Pinson. Torrey Hendricks, the usual workhorse running back for Pinson, was out with an injury. Jackie Matthews went down, the sophomore quarterback, with flu-like symptoms in the 3rd quarter. So they were really working shorthanded in this ball game. A stat that jumps out to me: this game featured 12 punts, and you had more yardage punting than you did in total yards of offense. 493 punting to 407 in offense. That's a lot of defense.
Yeah, it was a defensive struggle, there's no doubt. But those punts were, especially when Huffman would go to punt, it was you had to hold your breath if you're a coach. I saw some of those snaps, and they were not pretty. But, defensive battle. And when that's the case, you just have to, it's a gut check. And this is a true gut check for Pinson Valley in this game. And to pull it out and get a victory, you walk away, and now you've got an off week. You're able to get some of these guys healthy, and so a good win for Pinson.
Wanted to mention Rasheed Wilson in this ball game. 2 big interceptions and had several tackles for loss, including a safety on Huffman running back Demetrius Davis in this one. He had a nice ball game. And Pinson's going to go and take on Center Point this week, another important region game for them as they're looking at playoff seeding. So when we come back, Rob and I are going to talk about his new book, and we'll have our Tribune Sports Live Players of the Week. We'll be back.
Tribune Sports Live is sponsored in part by State Senator Slade Blackwell of District 15. Senator Blackwell represents parts of Talladega, Shelby, and Jefferson counties, including the Trussville area. A former high school and college athlete, Senator Blackwell is pleased to promote our local schools and student athletes. As football season gets underway, it's time to say, go Huskies, go Cougars, and go Indians. Here's to a successful and safe year for all who are involved with high school athletics in our area. And now it's time for Tribune Sports Live, brought to you by Gunter Oil. Our first player of the week hails from Hewitt-Trussville, Parker Colburn. Parker turned up the heat on the Oak Mountain Eagles by showing them exactly what he knows how to do best, and that's kick a football between the uprights, with 3 out of 3 field goals. Our next player is from Clay Chalkville and a familiar face to us all, Ty Pigram. He had 3 rushes for 50 yards and a touchdown, 4 of 4 passing for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now our player of the week from Pinson Valley High School, Pinson's very own, Rashid Wilson. Wilson had a big game on defense, intercepting 2 passes and making a tackle in the end zone for a safety. Congratulations to all of our players of the week. Brought to you by Gunter Oil.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
All right, so I dragged you all the way out here to do this show with me to fill in on short notice, so I appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about your book called The Way of the Athlete. Tell us about it.
Well, The Way of the Athlete was actually not my intention to write at all. The publishing company from the first book, A Tiger's Walk, called me and asked me with a working title. They said, hey, look, I've got an idea. I want you to write a book about how you used athletics to help you in your personal life, in your spiritual life, in the business world. And I said, yeah, absolutely. That's a book that I'd love to write, and I'm glad I did, because it really challenged me. It really was introspective for me, and I think people will really enjoy it, because athletics was the backbone of who I am. I mean, it was instilled in me from the age of 5 on, and those principles that I learned on the playing field, but also in the locker room. Pushing yourself beyond what you ever thought you could. You get to see how that looks in the business world, or in your life at home, and where we all live. So I think people will really enjoy it, and I look forward to getting feedback from it.
Okay, so you're from out this way. You grew up in Center Point. For those in the audience who know you maybe but haven't kept up with you, tell them a little bit about what you've done since college.
Yeah, so well, I got married while we were in school. Married my high school sweetheart from Irwin, and we've got 5 beautiful children, and we've been married for 16 years now. And I had been working here in Birmingham for a company as an eye doctor, and we're going to move to Auburn. So I actually began my new path in a new location at Baysden Eye Care on North Dean Road there in Auburn. And so hey, let's just once a year come on down to Auburn and get your eyes examined, and especially you people that live here in Trussville.
Wait a minute.
But so that's what we do, and we're excited about it, and I've been blessed. I mean, I am certainly not a perfect person, and have had things in life that have been difficult, but no, I've got a lot to be thankful for.
Should reread your book then.
You should.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on college football and how it's changed in the years since you played.
Well, people make a lot more money as far as the coaches go, but also a lot more responsibility that goes with that. I think more than anything is just the guys continue to get bigger, faster, and stronger. I mean, we were looking at Baylor last night. They had a guy that was over 400 pounds that plays on their offense that was catching the ball with one hand. I mean, you just didn't see that in years past. I think there's a lot more specialization now. I think that the recruiting aspect of it has really just gone completely haywire. I mean, they're going after kids now that are 9th graders, and that never happened when I was coming out. So the things on the field I don't think have changed a whole lot, Schematically things are different. They're constantly, reinventing the wheel, so to speak. But I just think that the caliber of player is different. Before long, physics, I think, are just going to be defied. I mean, guys are going to run into each other, and they're just going to explode into powder, is what it looks like, because, they're just so big and so fast now.
Well, when we come back, we're going to put you on the spot and make you do some predictions. So we'll have that when we come back. Check out the book, The Way of the Athlete, and if you can find it, A Tiger's Walk is a great read as well. We'll be back.
Whether you're looking to buy your first home or you're trying to sell the one you're in now and need advice from a realtor, turn to Lee Marlowe, Realty South Realtor. Contact Lee today at 205-913-9559 or visit Lee at leemarlowehomes.com.
Paul Davis Emergency Services of Northeast Birmingham helps by providing needed cleanup and restoration services. Through the appropriate tools and processes, we avoid wasting valuable time to get your property to its previous state as quickly as we possibly can. Through our experience with restoration services in Birmingham, we can determine the necessary services depending on your property and type of damage, which may include smoke and fire damage restoration, water damage restoration, wind damage restoration, and mold removal. Paul Davis, Recover, Reconstruct, Restore. 205-687-0556.
All right, it's prediction time, and usually Alan Taylor's here doing this for me, but I'm going to put you on the spot and see how you do. We'll start with Pinson at your old stomping grounds at Center Point. Your thoughts on this one?
Where are they playing?
I believe they're playing at Pinson.
Well, we never lost at Pinson. So.
How long ago did you play high school football, though?
This one pains me. Look, Pinson is a better football team at this point. There's no doubt about it. They've got better athletes. I think Coach Glover's an outstanding coach. So it's going to hurt my soul, but in reality, Pinson Valley will win this football game.
All right, so I'm going to go with Pinson as well in this one. Probably a little bit closer than what a lot of people might think, but I do think Pinson's going to win this one. Clay taking on Huffman. Huffman actually made a pretty good showing last week against Pinson, but they are running into a buzzsaw in Clay Chalkville.
Yeah, Clay Chalkville, I think, will have their way with Huffman. I just think that they execute at a completely different realm when you compare them to Pinson Valley. I think that Pinson was, kind of had one arm tied behind their back in this game and still were able to shut them out. I think they're going to see a better product on the field, Huffman will, against Clay Chalkville. So I think it'll be very similar in the vein of how they were able to defeat Center Point last week.
And finally, a really interesting ball game as Thompson comes over to take on Hewitt-Trussville. A lot of region implications in this game. Thompson's still alive for a playoff spot. Hewitt actually playing for home field in the first round of the playoffs. Your thoughts on this one?
I don't think Thompson's ready yet to make that next step in this division, but I will tell the people here in town that Thompson's they're a much improved program, and they'll come in. This will be a four-quarter football game. They're gonna get Thompson's best effort, and they will fight them tooth and nail for this entire contest. If you go and look at their losses, they've all been close. And they're against some good football teams. So I like Hewitt-Trussville in this game, but I do think it'll be a close game.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be tight and go right down to the wire, but I think the Huskies pull it out, maybe a late touchdown, late field goal, a lot like this Oak Mountain game that we just talked about.
Yep.
All right, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much to Rob Pate for filling in. Congratulations to Alan Taylor, the new grandpa.
Congrats, Alan.
And so we'll be back next week. For Rob Pate, I'm Zach Steele. Good night, everybody.